the richest country on earth, okay, and the richest country throughout history. It's fucking stupid, okay? I do want you to drink 12 Mountain Dews a day. I don't want you to feel bad about doing it. No one should ever tell you that it's wrong to drink 12 Diet Mountain Dews a day, okay? They don't want the boys are back in. If they don't play the boys are back in town, I'll be disappointed. Do you mind going over the big Congress changes? I just got in bring YouTube stuff. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the primary updates. Okay. There are live updates. Pennsylvania's key Senate primary remains deadlocked. I'm gonna see if Michael from Pennsylvania is here. Let's see. We'll bring him on to give us his analysis since he's like from Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? And he's worked in Pennsylvania politics. But Connor Lamb got fucking compstered. Okay, and I do want to talk about that, and I do want to do a fucking touchdown dance on his fucking graveyard of a campaign. Okay, the Republican battle between Dr. Oz and Dave McCormick, a hedge fund executive, could go to a recount in Pennsylvania. These are the Pennsylvania Senate primaries that are happening for a Republican seat, by the way, that could be flipped over. And the Democratic Party is supposedly putting a lot of their power behind whoever was going to be the winner of the primary. The winner of the primary happened to be a leftist by the name of John Fetterman, someone I've talked about before, someone that I actually do like a lot, even though he does have some bad takes from time to time. I don't personally care that he's like, totally cucked to ensure that he doesn't get like $7 gazillion of fucking anti-attack ads from like the what is it, like, it's not Democratic Majority for Israel that literally fucking operates as like this reactionary force within the Democratic Party that just like destroy anyone that will treat Palestinians as humans. I don't like that he literally is pro-Israel leftists feel strong, man. Shut the fuck up, Barry Moist Towlett. Yeah. Anyway, he has said some sussy things. He's like, oh, for the people of Pennsylvania, like I will collaborate with the nation state of Israel, which is not a fucking ethno state. Like, okay, bro, you're literally running in Pennsylvania. Like, who gives a fuck? I mean, I guess Bibi Netanyahu is from Israel. I mean, is from Pennsylvania. So, Bayes Brandon came out with a response almost immediately. I'm lib the fuck up. Joe Biden said electing John Fetterman to the United States Senate would be a big step forward in Pennsylvania's working people. All right, dude, what the fuck? Respond to me in Discord. I already DM'd you in Discord, Central Committee. Just tuning in. Did you hear Thomas Lane, one of the cops involved with the George Floyd murder, pled guilty today to second-degree manslaughter? Not sure if you talked about it yet or not. No, I haven't talked about it yet. So here's the thing, okay? Pennsylvania is the Israel of the United States. But for guys who like to fight, it's an ethno state. For Pennsylvania is the Israel of the United States in the sense that it's the ethno state for dudes who like to fight. Is that what it is? What, like, what? How is it like the Israel of the United States? He wants to do. Yes, Michael from Pennsylvania is on the line, but I don't know why the fuck he's not picking up right now, even though he's in the chat and I'm calling him, but he's not picking up for some reason. If Pennsylvania is there Israel of the United States, then does that mean Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio? Eastern Ohio would be the Golan Heights. Is that what it is? And they're like slowly annexing Ohio and corrupting it. I am from Eastern Ohio, can confirm. Ohio is my number one state, number one most. Ohio is my number one Googled state, so I can't. Bro, what the fuck? Hello?
Hello?
Dude, what are you? You're such a boomer, dude. How are you not able to figure out this Discord shit?
I think I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Michael from Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen, aka Central Committee is in the building. He is he is from Pennsylvania, as his name implies, and has worked in Pennsylvania politics for a very long time. And together we're going to talk about Pennsylvania, also known as Eastern Ohio, and the many dubs that Pennsylvania delivered last night in the primaries. All right, that's it. There you go. Is that a good introduction?
Yeah. Central Committee on Twitch. I've been in politics for a long time. I ran for the state house myself back in 2014, so been around the block. And I have to say that last night was pretty fucking crazy. A lot of progressive victories over Pennsylvania. Some are leaving Lee representing Pittsburgh is like crazy. I mean, it's I can't even feel. I can't believe it's real. And Fetterman winning by 60% landslide. It's pretty wild.
So let's talk about Summer Lee a little bit. So before we get to Fetterman, I've talked about Fetterman a lot, but I haven't really talked about Summer Lee all that much. Can you give us a little bit more background on her and why this is such a profound victory?
Well, Summer Lee is like exactly the type of candidate we want, where you don't have, with John, he's more of like a populist, and he has a couple takes that I don't agree with. But Summer Lee was originally a democratic socialist, and she ran by primarying an establishment fixture of Pittsburgh politics when she went into the state house. And so she's now been fighting the Democratic, establishment, the machine of Pittsburgh. And then now she's taking on like AIPAC and took on huge. I mean, I think they spent $3.3 million just in a primary, which is almost unheard of for a congressional race. The amount of money she just like withstood. And those were the groups that took out Nina Turner, which is obviously a favorite of anybody who's in electoral politics on the left. They managed to knock Nina Turner out, but Summer Lee persevered and won, even in the face of all that. So she's an incredible, incredible leader. She's going to be another amazing voice on the left. And before you know it, she'll probably be playing Among Us with you.
Oh, we'll see. So you mentioned the Democratic majority for Israel as one of the PACs that routinely attacks the left and dumps a ton of money into races where there is like any sort of primary opponents from the left. Do you think that's part of the reason why Fetterman had routinely talked about, even on the campaign trail, like something that is otherwise like totally random, but that he was going to, work effectively with Israel?
Yeah. So I mean, Pennsylvania has a relatively large Jewish population, especially Western Pennsylvania. And so there is a lot of money. There's a lot of constituencies for like a more supportive of Israel. I have personally heard, that if you don't put full-throated endorsement behind Israel, you're basically considered to be BDS. If you have any critique at all, they will 100% go at you with everything you've got. And this is one of those bad takes that John has that I just disagree with wholeheartedly. Is like, this. And Summer Lee criticized, and this is something she did, I think, last year. She criticized Israel when they were attacking worshipers and said how, Palestinians deserve, human rights, and we can't just say that Israel has the right to defend themselves when they commit atrocities. And boom, that put a target on her back. And, AIPAC and the Israeli lobby is interested in making an example of anybody who dares criticize Israel, no matter how mild or how justified.
Yeah.
So, the fact that she was able to pull it out shows that, voters are,
in less than a
money
month,
doesn't win it for you automatically.
In less than a month, the United Democracy Project, the Political Action Committee for the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, poured more than $1 million into ads in the Pennsylvania 12th District. The bulk of messaging attacked Lee, though just over 100,000 went to materials supporting Irwin. In total, the United Democracy Project has spent more than $2.3 million on this race so far. Those are the odds that she overcame by,
They ended up spending 3.3, so they put another million in after this article, which came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah, awesome.
That's insane.
Yeah. As you also mentioned, Lee is one of the several progressive House candidates who've come into the crosshairs of AIPAC and its counterpart, Democratic Majority for Israel, which AIPAC operatives launched in 2019. Bernie Sanders was another person in the crosshairs, famously. The group justify their spending with a hardline stance, opposing any criticism of the Israeli state, even as the Israel Defense Forces relentlessly attack Palestinian civilians, journalists, and mourners. As you guys all know, we talked about that. So, big blow. But it's very weird to see a PAC like this, who I would say is like very openly against progressive primary challengers. But I'm sure the Democratic Party loves it and doesn't care.
Well, the thing that's really disgusting is they didn't attack her based on her position on Israel. This is the sneaky thing they do, is they they attacked her pretending that she was not a real Democrat. They pulled a Facebook a comment she made about Biden back in I think it was March of 2019 to say that she didn't support, like she was anti-Biden. Look at this thing she said, criticizing him in the very beginning of the primary.
It's actually pretty
And
smart. I mean, it's much better than just like being like she said mean things about Israel, because like that
yeah,
itself
because
is
no
not
one
gonna
would.
fucking
I mean,
work. Yeah.
well, yeah, of course it wouldn't
I
work
think they learned their lesson
because
from Cory Bush. That's because that was a race where they did that same thing and literally were like, Cory Bush is anti-Semitic, right? Wasn't that like a thing that they were doing?
yeah,
And people were just like, yeah, we don't. This is stupid. Why the fuck is this relevant?
yeah, and well, and that's what they did with Nina Turner, because Nina Turner famously said that voting for Joe Biden versus Donald Trump was like the difference between eating half a bowl of shit and a full bowl of shit. You're still eating shit, which obviously is an incredibly true statement. But when you're in a Democratic primary, you have to understand that the type of person who's motivated to show up to vote in the Democratic primary probably likes the Democratic Party overall and identifies it much more
Of
than
course.
like the population of people that vote in a general election.
No, they're the
So if
MSNBC watchers, 100%.
and so like yeah, like it doesn't mean they're not progressive, by the way. It doesn't mean they don't have a ton of left views. They just care about the Democratic Party. You and I probably don't care about the Democratic Party. We're about the policies and the ideology, and we want to push things left, and we use the Democratic Party as a vehicle. But if tomorrow the Democratic Party died, we wouldn't give a shit. We would move to whatever else grew in its place. But for some of these people, it's like they're true blue Democrats. So if you shit on the Democratic Party itself too hard, that gives these bad faith corporatists the opportunity to like attack you and imply that you're not supporting policies that you do support because of your criticisms of, Nancy Pelosi or something. And that's what they did with Nina Turner again. Like they tried to imply that she was against a $15 minimum wage because she voted against the minimum wage platform plank at the national convention, even though she wanted it to be even more robust. They were trying to say, oh, she doesn't even believe in the minimum wage. And so they use these like, what are basically lies or half truths in order to, smear these people. And, thankfully it didn't work with Summer Lee. And Pittsburgh, if you don't know, Chad, is very left wing. So she's in there. That's it. She's the congresswoman. There's not going to be any question about that, assuming she makes it to November.
Yeah. Sorry, just something broke down a little bit. I don't know what happened on my end, but I think we're good. I think the DNC's coming after. The DNC's coming after.
You and I
me.
together is the CIA target.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're marking us with lasers right now.
So good things happened. Let's talk about the Republican primaries that also happened.
Oh God.
I'm a little surprised personally. I'm a little surprised that Donald Trump's clout in this race was not enough for Dr. Oz to basically win the primaries decisively.
Yeah.
Right now they're heating up. I mean, Dr. Mehmet Oz, a shame to Turkey, is he's in the lead by 0.2% with 414,664 votes, and Dave McCormick is actually trailing closely behind. And from what I understand, part of the reason why this happened is because Kathy Barnett, a latecomer, decided to run to the right of both of them, and if I'm not mistaken, to the right of Donald Trump, whatever the fuck that means.
She was one of the main proponents of what they call ultra MAGA.
Yeah.
So like, and her story is, she has a story where she says that she was born, and this is some content warning for what I'm about to tell you, but this is just her life story. Basically, she claims that she is the daughter of the product of a rape of an 11-year-old. So her mom was 11 and was raped, and she was born. Therefore, we should ban abortion even in the cases of rape because she's alive, basically, is her logic.
That's fucking insane. She said that she was leading buses to DC for our 1776 moment on January 6, 2021.
Yeah, she was there on January 6th. Actually, both, it looks like the governor's nominee, which we'll probably get to, he was there as well. Like, he organized a whole bunch of buses, and he was there during the riot. So, like, the Pennsylvania GOP, the people,
they're awesome.
Are stupid. I mean, it's
they're
like
great.
the best Democratic politicians in the country versus the biggest hogs. So it's gonna be a royal
It's just
rumble.
wild to see like how much I mean, here, this is a Pennsylvania. I think, in my opinion, is a perfect representation of what happened, like in America in the post NAFTA world, in the fucking complete destruction of labor unions. That's what you get. You get a bunch of people who like are rudderless and turn into reactionary psychos over the course of like many years of being fucked over by everybody, and will then turn around and vote for things like this.
Yeah, I think the point you make is exactly apt, which is like Pennsylvanians are rejecting the status quo. Status quo is bad. So on the right, they're going ultra MAGA, and on the left, they're going democratic socialist, they're going populist. Like people think what's going on now is bad. And the question of whether we have socialism, leftism, or barbarism is the question. And, I know you and I have been saying this for fucking years, that this is the choice. And like, it's why, I was so strongly in favor of Bernie, and John was behind Bernie in 2016 when he ran for lieutenant governor.
Which is part of the reason why they were fucking ripping him, right? Because like John Fetterman himself is literally like a textbook perfect guy that you would want in like a red seat, right? He is.
Oh
like,
my
the Democratic
God, they would
Party,
be destroyed by him.
The Democratic Party fucking like. I mean, the only thing that the Democratic Party hates about John Fetterman, or that would not make him a perfect candidate, is that he's not like a like a butch lesbian Air Force person or whatever the fuck, like a Air Force vet. Like that is the perfect, like mathematically the perfect candidate that the Democratic Party thinks is like the best person to run in like red districts, right? That straight up, that's like what they think is their bread and butter, and they get owned all the fucking time. Whereas John Fetterman is like actually he ride or die for Pennsylvania. He's actually ride or die for
for sure.
his city. I mean, the dude is pretty metal. Like, I mean, he's 6'8", right? He's gigantic. Has
6'9", actually.
6'9", has a handlebar mustache. Fucking has tattooed the names of every single fucking murder in his town on his arm, because like that was like his main thing. He wanted to combat gun violence in the town that he was a mayor of. Very popular lieutenant governor. Traveled every fucking county in Pennsylvania, right? Doing a pro legalization of marijuana tour. The man did a lot of great things. Okay.
In fact, Hasan, I was listening to a podcast about Republican focus groups. I'm sorry, Chad. This is what I do. And they said that John Fetterman was the only Democrat they have ever heard be brought up spontaneously by Trump supporters as someone they could support. And then they played like a clip of it. I think I have it if you care.
I think we can listen to that. Meanwhile, while you're looking for that, I want to play a clip of the dog water analysis that's coming out of CNN. I'm sure you know exactly what clip I'm referring to. This is from last night, as CNN's Chris Wallace, he had some ideas. He had some analysis. CNN's Chris Wallace, who used to be Fox News' Chris Wallace, had some analysis on John Fetterman and how what the steps ahead are for him in the general, and how difficult it'll be.
I will say I have to disagree slightly with the previous panel, because while his authenticity and down-to-earthness, if there's such a phrase, played very well in the Democratic primary, you get to a general election, particularly if you end up with a moderate like Dave.
Why are people saying Ethan is calling you? I can't. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm currently doing coverage, and I have someone else on the call. Chatters, be fucking normal, okay? Stop being weird. Like, chill the fuck out, okay?
Dave McCormick, there are a lot of things that the Republicans are going to have to work with in going after John Fetterman. This is a guy who is against limits on abortion. He is for universal background checks. He wants to end the filibuster. He wants to legalize pot.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, what he's using, okay, what he's using in this situation as like negatives is actually super supported by the people of Pennsylvania. Polls show 60% of Pennsylvania support legal pot. 90% of Pennsylvanians support background checks. 90%. Okay. And there it is. There's the poll that Steve Morris also posted. It doesn't matter. Like, this is just an out of touch. It's just a super out of touch approach where they automatically assume that like people don't like this stuff. I don't know why. I don't know if it's deliberate. I don't know if that's the reason why they're fucking pushing for this narrative, because they just want people to not, they want people to not be pro pot legalization. I guess I don't know what the fuck that person.
I mean, the pot legalization thing is ridiculous because, like, again, you pointed out you went 67 counties. and he got support of people, coming out, all sorts of people in the middle of Forest County, PA, which is in the middle of bumblefuck. We're coming out and going to these town halls to talk to him about it. And then on top of all that, like, he's actually come out in favor of magic mushrooms as well, because Pennsylvania is mushroom capital of America. We have a ton of mushrooms farms, and he's like, we should be exploring this as well. So like, he is willing to take things that are totally outside of what politicians are talking about and actually support like what normal people want to do and support those policies. That's what a real populist is. That's what a real, I guess, moderate is, where he goes and listens to the people instead of saying, you know what the people really want? Not the minimum wage. I'm a moderate, by the way.
No,
that's
they,
not
they
moderate.
Need earned
That's
income
extremely
tax
right wing.
credits. People love earned income tax credits if they're conditional earned income tax
They want
credits.
the means tested. They want means tested 3 weeks of family leave.
Yeah.
Genius.
So it's really fucking it's really dumb. But let's hear this is the video that you sent me from a focus group, a Republican focus group, talking about John Fetterman.
Although I got to tell you though, something happened in the Trump voter focus groups that basically never happens, which is that there were a couple people who were open to voting for Fetterman. Let's listen.
Well, but he did go around and have all these town halls all over the state, which at least he heard both sides of the issue. I have to give him that. I did like his ads that he was running during the primary. I've seen some of those, but apparently they're not true from what I'm hearing. But I would consider them, but I would have to research it a little bit more.
Oh, I plan on.
That's crazy. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's partially because he's just a big dude too. Like, he wears shorts in the winter. He's a big guy. Honestly, this is. I think that factors into it. We got to run more fatties and big dudes, I think.
Well, and he is like very approachable, and like you can hear that Western Pennsylvania accent. like when that guy's talking, it's vibes, but it's also vibes because he's like actually in touch with them, and he has been very strong about talking about how the right wing is fraudulent. Like, they say they care about it. Like, if you watch his ads, he talks about he takes it on. It's like, people pretend they care, but they're just here for votes and they're not back. They came here for votes and then they left and they never came back. And he was here, and he moved to Western Pennsylvania, started a GED program.
All right.
He talked about the murders being tattooed on his arm.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been a murder in 5 years in Braddock.
Yeah.
So
he didn't want to get fucking tatted up further. You know what I mean? He had to stop it personally. So now, one of the interesting things about John Fetterman's background, I mean, I'll briefly get into it. You probably heard about it. If you've been in here, I've talked about this before, is that there's a lot of issues with gun violence. And what Connor Lamb, that fucking dildo, tried to use against him was the fact that he actually rushed out of his house one time with a shotgun and when he heard gunshots and chased after a black man, right? And this was like, look at how racist he is. Look at how racist he is. Like, vote for me, Connor Lamb, instead of this fucking racist guy. Well, the dude that he chased with a shotgun literally endorsed him. So you never hear that from
also
Connor Lamb.
For kidnapping right now.
What?
The guy who he chased is actually in federal prison for kidnapping right now. So yeah, he did also endorse Fetterman, but I don't know that the law and order people are going to be like, look, this innocent guy, I mean, if anything, this is just going to make chuds go, he would defend his home.
Okay, so that's what I was going to point out too, for the record.
Regardless,
like, the dude who he fucking chased with a shotgun endorsed him, but also, even if that hadn't happened, as far as like the right winger crossover appeal, it's there. It's the truth, and that is the point. You know what I mean? Like, no Pennsylvania, no Western Pennsylvania chud is gonna fucking turn around and be like, damn, that's crazy. Like, he chased after a black guy with a gun. Like, that's so terrible. I'm not gonna vote for him. That's if anything, that's like, oh shit. Like, now they want to vote for him because like some of them fucking think that that's cool, right? Well, even if they don't fully understand the situation.
Yeah, and it's actually like one of the biggest problems the Democratic Party has had in places like Pennsylvania is the guy who's a member of the building trades unions, the carpenters, the plumbers, the guys who were once the backbone of the Democratic Party. As the Democratic Party has moved away from unions economically and is not delivering, and they're always on defense, the political educators of those unions have had a harder and harder time of getting people excited to vote for Democrats. They're like, they're these chud guys with a truck, and then they go to the union hall and the union president is like, please vote for Hillary Clinton. and they're just like, no, and they can't do it. But with John, like, I can tell you my experience of seeing him campaign is like he gets those guys back that have been lost, and he does it with an economic message, and he just resonates with them, and I think the one concern is, I'm not trying to make light of the racial dynamic that exists here, but the thing about John is I saw him personally when it was not popular in 2014 and later than that, going and joining Black Lives Matter rallies. I've seen him confront police on the street himself. So like the guy, if you think he's squishy on racial justice issues or something or terrible, no, that's not true at all. Now, that's just not. John is always going to be on the cutting edge of stuff like a police reform bill or whatever. He may not say defund the police because that's not a popular slogan for a politician, but he's definitely in favor of Black Lives Matter. He is he had a friend of his who was a volunteer at his wife's nonprofit, which is known as the Free Store. Basically, you can go and get stuff for free. It was killed by police, and that was a big confrontation that he had out in that community. He was killed by Pittsburgh police, not in Braddock. So like John is like the real deal. I've seen him support Medicare for all candidates, single payer candidates that the Democratic Party was trying to crap on. I don't know. I think a lot of people are trying to they're worried that he's going to be a sellout. They're looking for reasons not to like him.
Yeah.
And if you look hard enough, you will find them because he is a human being. But overall, compared to what we would normally get for something like a Pennsylvania Senate seat, it's not getting better than this. You should be excited.
The thing that I do love about this, by the way, is, well, first of all, he does need crossover appeal in Pennsylvania if he's going to run for this red. If he's running for a red seat to flip, he is going to need a little bit of crossover appeal. Obviously, the generals are a little bit different, but right now he's working against he's working against the hurdles because the Democratic Party is broadly unpopular, and these midterms are slated to be a fucking bloodbath. Right. Inflation, people feel insecure about their futures. Joe Biden is seen as like, kind of cowardly and also not all that successful for understandable reasons. He's President Joe Manchin has kind of ruined it, I think, in some ways. But in spite of all of that, if he goes up against the two top candidates, either Mehmet Oz or Dave McCormick, I think he's going to have a really good fucking shot because
I agree.
Both of those guys, and I wouldn't even say this about Kathy Barnett if I'm being real with you, given how much support she was able to fucking secure so quickly despite having like psychotic ideas, that would have been terrifying. But Dr. Oz is so easy to portray as an out-of-touch elitist asshole. And same could be said for Dave McCormick as well. I mean, Dave McCormick's like a hedge fund guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's from Connecticut. He's not even from Pennsylvania. It's a joke that he's running,
David Harold McCormick is an American politician and businessman. Like, boom, it's over. He's the CEO of Bridgewater Associates, one of the world's largest hedge funds. He worked as the Undersecretary to the U.S. Treasury for International Affairs. Like, this guy is a suit. I mean, he's a limp dick suit. You can put on your fucking Carhartt jacket. You can put on, you can turn around and like try to LARP as like the everyday man. But I think like, I don't know if you're going to be able to captivate the rural voters all that much. And same with Dr. Oz as well.
I think that the strat, like, for me, like Fetterman's campaign is weed, workers, and wages. It's a very simple, straightforward campaign slogan that everyone understands instantly and gets way more than 50% in PA. And whereas, someone like McCormick, I think he would want to try to run a Youngkin style campaign down in Virginia. But the difference between that Virginia campaign and this Pennsylvania campaign is Terry McAuliffe is basically Hillary Clinton's like butler. He's about his establishment and former governor, right wing, centrist, doesn't excite anyone. But in Allegheny County in this primary, the combination of Fetterman and Summerlee running, they had 198,000 people turn out in that congressional district, in that county, which is Pittsburgh, to vote in a Democratic primary. And that was the highest turnout they've had in a primary since I can remember, going back decades. So they're blowing it out. So I think for Pennsylvania, because they did pick such a strong candidate, and I'm not a huge fan of Josh Shapiro, who's the governor candidate, but he's not terrible. He's like a competent Democrat. He's not someone who's going to like discuss trust you any more than any other Democratic politician. He's not a centrist, total piece of shit. He's more of a machine guy, but whatever. I think they have a good chance of having some of bucking the trend. And the reason why I'm more optimistic about Pennsylvania being able to do that is in 2014 with the governor's race, Tom Wolf running kind of more to the left did that. The last time there was like a Republican wave year back in 2014. So I think John has a really good shot, but he's going to need it. I know there was a heads up poll against Oz where he's up by like 3 or 4. So
not good enough.
Not good enough, but so we've got to fight. And Joe Biden is dragging him down. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, Joe Biden sucks.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was really good. Is there anything that I haven't gotten to in Pennsylvania politics that you want to talk about?
I mean, just the governors on the Republican side. I know we talked a little bit about the Senate candidate, but the governor's race is really important. I know if for national politics, like it might not seem as important, but the reason why it is important is because basically Pennsylvania has the Secretary of State is appointed by the governor, who is the person who determines like how the elections are run in 2024. And the guy who was just nominated by the Republicans for the governor is batshit crazy, insurrectionist, organized buses,
awesome.
Says the election was stolen. He says he will, audit would not allow a Democrat to win Pennsylvania in 2024. Like Doug Mastriano is his name. He's insane.
Italian.
Yeah. He's Italian. Yeah. We don't want to be represented by Italian.
We're letting Italians become governors now. What the fuck has this country come to? You know what I mean?
I can't believe it myself.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
But yeah. So that's like the race that's very scary for me. This guy is batshit. He just accepted a sword from some like Christian freaks like yesterday.
No, he's awesome.
Like the sword of David.
He's awesome. No, this is like, Kathy Barnett, like this is the perfect person for Pennsylvania politics though, like on the Republican side, I think, which is really funny because like even usually like, the like swing states or states that are close often will have like a moderate Republican as a governor. Like that's how you see like blue states have like Republican governors that are, well liked even. And Pennsylvania is just like the opposite. They're just like, nah, fuck that. Super far right. Let's do it. YOLO.
Yeah.
And of course, governors have a profound amount of impact, as you already pointed out, on the everyday existence of Pennsylvanians. Like especially with the new Democratic, I mean, not the new Democratic, but like with the Republican Party's approach to state politics and just like completely overriding the legislature and just using the state legislatures to do whatever the fuck they want. You're gonna have having a psychotic governor like this is not good.
Yeah, and I linked you. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. It's like a minute and a half of him getting the sword. But he's like a Christian nationalist, like psychotic. Like, look at this fucking. Look at this.
Awesome.
How many flags can
he's
you
awesome.
have?
He's got white boy swag. You're just jealous.
Sword because you've been cutting a lot of.
I'm jealous right now. I mean, I am wearing like a jean
and so
jacket,
we had inscribed in there for
I got
God
my own
and country
swag.
because you have been fighting for our country and you're fighting for our religious rights, Christ Jesus. So we wanted to bless you with that sword of David, and then
That's so
a bunch
sick.
of goodies in here too.
That's a sick sword. I would want one.
Heavy. Hopefully it won't break.
I mean, if I win, I want a sword.
So we just
if
thank
I ever
you
ran for office, I'd
being
want a
part
goddamn
of
sword
this
the second time.
conference, being a part of all of our lives and really making a difference.
Bro, that is the ugliest hat, dude. America merch is so fucking. It's just.
Wait, are you hating on his white boy swag? I thought,
dude, no, that hat is so gross, dude. It's just like, oh my god, look at the bald eagle. I didn't even notice that. This is awesome. It's so funny. Okay. Are you pretending you would want that hat? Okay, maybe that's why I'm saying the hat sucks, so I can have it, so that no one else
just
has
a little
it.
hat stiffener. It'll be good.
Yeah.
You learn that.
All right. Well, is there, like I said, is there anything else you wanna reach out or you want to talk about or let you go?
I mean, I don't know. Well, there was the other thing was in Philly. There was a bunch of like Democratic socialists who were being like primaried by the Pennsylvania like Democratic Party, basically from the right, like going after these incumbents, and they all won. So that was pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. Just everybody go and follow me at twitch.tv/central_committee and come watch me at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. So I'm the morning guy. If you need more politics, like shit before
Yeah, if you're like,
Hasan
oh man,
streams.
I need so much more politics in my life. There you go.
I just do politics though, you know. I'm a politics disgusting freak. So 5 hours a day, boom. I will be ranting about it until you're like, please stop.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Michael from Pennsylvania, aka Central Committee. And
Anytime, bud.
hopefully we'll get to have this conversation again with more good news coming out of Pennsylvania and in general.
Oh hell yeah.
All right, peace.
I'm excited for November now. I needed this. I needed the hope. I don't know about you, but
no, this is
I've been
great.
feeling pretty shitty. But this is really great. The Summer Lee is like, oh man, I can't even get over how exciting that is. So
Yeah.
all right, I'll see you, bud.
All right, peace. All right, that was Michael from Pennsylvania, Mike from PA, aka Central Committee. I always want to say Central Affairs. I don't know why. When is the Madison Cawthorn interview? It's going to happen